Hi everybody. Well, today, and yes, I did just do another review. Um, I would like to review Autumn Bleeds into Winter by Jeff Strand, and the reason I chose this one, this time last year, I started looking at stories set in winter, and I also considered, because it's almost Christmas time, or what it was when I started thinking about maybe Christmas ghost stories, something like that. So I saw this title, and just totally on a whim, I saw it was called Autumn Bleeds into Winter. I thought, hey, right, exactly the time of year, so why not? There was nothing more complicated in my choice, just this one happened to come across my feed, and I grabbed it. Like I said, I am kind of a hopeless consumer. I'll usually try to check out things that come across my feed. You can see, here's the cover. I don't know if you can see that. It's a kid on a bicycle with some nice scenery behind him. And this is a really evocative cover because it's a lonely city, and you can see the northern lights. And they set a really interesting backdrop because it's set in Alaska, which is it's an unusual place to set something. And again, this being wintertime, snowy scares, the Alaska setting was really was a good one for the story. So the book is written by Jeff Strand, and he's got a pretty long list of credits. I follow him on Facebook, but we're not really super in touch, but I've been following him for a while. And he writes mostly horror comedy. He's been nominated for the Stoker Award 4 times. He writes YA, coming of age horror, so he sort of stays firmly in that camp. And this is definitely a coming of age story with a little bit of a twist. So it's set in 1979, and the main character, Curtis, is 14. He's just turned 14. And earlier in the year, he and his friend were going to have a sleepover. They had a falling out. His friend left. He went to follow him, and he witnessed his friend get abducted. And it's a terrible enough thing to happen, but I was also reminded of, I don't know if you remember, a while back I reviewed Dear Laura by Gemma Moore. I think that was the author. And almost identical premise, but a very different type of story. And so I just thought that was kind of interesting that I read two stories with a similar premise within a couple of months of each other. So anyway, it's 1979, and Curtis witnesses his best friend get abducted, and he identifies the kidnapper as a guy who lives nearby. He's seen him around, but he doesn't know his name or anything. And he, the cops take him there, and they take the man into questioning, but nothing comes of it because they don't have any evidence against him. And nothing happens. He starts school. He's a chubby kid, kind of bullied, but it's always at the back of his mind that maybe he could have done more. And so when the story starts, he gets hold of an illegal firearm, and he goes to confront the guy who kidnapped his friend. And I really enjoyed this story because I thought that Curtis was just a really well drawn character. He's got the arrogance of a 14-year-old. He's smart but not overly good in school or anything. And he's kind of an idiot. And he admits, he was an idiot. But his heart is in the right place, and he's trying so hard to be the hero, but he's just this 14-year-old kid, and he's a bit of a schmuck. And you kind of go, as you're reading along, you're going, oh my goodness, you're an idiot, don't go there, that guy is dangerous. And I really appreciated it because it has a lot of twists and turns. And just when you think, one thing's going to happen, it zigs the other way, and then you think something else is going to happen, it zags the other way, and so it does really keep you on your toes. It's a really entertaining, fun read, and it's a good read for this time of year because, like I said, it's autumn bleeds into winter, so it's like right in the middle between, being set in the autumn and then the dead of winter, which in Alaska is really, really the dead of winter. So yeah, it starts as kind of a coming of age tale, turns into a bit of a cat and mouse game because when he goes to confront this guy, of course, this guy's dangerous, so he threatens him. And then now this kid has to figure out what to do. And so the character and the setting are really compelling. And the other thing that I thought I really appreciated about the book was the way that it conveys the feeling of, you're right, but nobody will do anything about it. And that really kind of hit home for me because I've had such a hard time the last year and a half of being accused of all this nonsense, having trouble with my landlord, having trouble with the other tenants. Cops won't do anything. My property's been vandalized. I've been receiving death threats and graffiti and criminal accusations and all this other nonsense. And I know I haven't done anything, but the cops won't do anything to tell them to stop, right? And while obviously my case is completely different and much milder than what's going on in the book, I really, really appreciated that feeling of, you're right, but nobody will do anything about it. And I thought that was probably the most realistic and interesting way that this story is drawn out. Because most people aren't going to encounter a serial killer, right? There's millions of people, hundreds of millions of people in the States, and there's like 200 serial killers walking loose, which in itself is a terrible thing, but your chances of running into one are, pretty slim. So most people can't relate to that, but a lot of people can relate to not being heard. So Autumn Bleeds into Winter by Jeff Strand was published in 2020. I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really appreciated it. I don't know what else to say. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope you're reading lots of great horror. Have a great day.